Celtic Twilight by W.B. Yeats. I believe I said that was 1902, right? The last one? This one is 1901. It's called By the Roadside. It's not a title of a Led Zeppelin song, but for some reason I'm having a Led Zeppelin song go through my head. But last night I went to a wide place on the Kill Tartan road to listen to some Irish songs. When I waited for the singers, an old man sang about that country beauty who died so many years ago, and spoke of a singer he had known who sang so beautiful that no horse would pass him, but must turn its head and cock its ears to listen. Presently, a score of men and boys and girls with shawls over their heads gathered under the trees to listen. Somebody sang, Sa Myrnin de Les. And then somebody else, Jimmy Mo Milestor, mournful songs, of separation, of death, and of exile. Then some of the men stood up and began to dance, while another lifted the measure, they danced too. And then somebody sang, Iblin Aruin, that glad song of meeting, which has always moved me more than other songs, because the lover who made it sang it to his sweetheart under the shadow of a mountain I looked at every day through my childhood. The voices melted into the twilight and were mixed into the trees, and when I thought of the words, they too melted away and were mixed with the generations of men. Now it was a phrase, now it was an attitude of mind, an emotional form that had carried my memory to older verses, or even to forgotten mythologies. I was carried so far that it was as though I came to one of the four rivers and followed it under the wall of paradise to the roots of the trees of knowledge and of life. There is no story or song handed down among the cottages that has not words and thoughts to carry one as far. For though one can know but a little of their ascent, one knows that they ascend like medieval genealogies through unbroken dignitaries to the beginning of the world. Folk art is indeed the oldest of the aristocracies of thought, and because it refuses what is passing and trivial, the merely clever and pretty, as certainly as the vulgar and insincere, and because it has gathered into itself the simplest and most unforgettable thoughts of the generations, it is the soil where all great art is rooted. Wherever it is spoken by the fireside or sung by the roadside or carved upon the lintel, appreciation of the arts that a single mind gives unity and design to spreads quickly when its hour is come. In a society that has cast out imaginative tradition, only a few people, 3,000 or 4,000 out of millions, favored by their own characters and by happy circumstance, and only then, after much labor, have understanding of imaginative things. And yet the imagination is the man himself. The churches in the Middle Age won all the arts into their service because men understood that when imagination is impoverished, a principal voice, some would say, the only voice for the awakening of the wise, hope and durable faith and understanding charity, can speak but in broken words, if it does not fall silent. And so it has always seemed to me that we, who would reawaken imaginative tradition by making old songs live again, or by gathering old stories into books, take part in the quarrel of Galilee, those who are Irish and would spread foreign ways, which, for all but a few, are ways of spiritual poverty, take part also Their part is with those who were of Jewry, and yet cried out, "If thou let this man go, thou art not Caesar's friend." Now, I've been places, and I have had this feeling that there was a forgotten mythology about the place. Now, I'm not saying that all of these mythologies, even ones that built egregores, were true in all that they say. But there were things that went on there, things that still go on there, that are just out of perception. I will continue to try to take trips, to try to mythologize, to have a spiritual experience in a place that doesn't have much of a history to, or maybe a place that has a history, but I want to have my own experience, in touch with my own beliefs and my own practices in this place. Perhaps give it a name, a special name all my own. And, last Monday was one of those such experiences. And where we stepped off the roadside, and I climbed down hills and walked down trails and tried to have a sense of the place. And there are many more places and things, and the secularization of the world, even though some lies have been forgotten, it has not been for the better.